Hi, and a warm welcome to Song of the Future and the weekly upgrade. My name is Josephine, and this week's topic is you and the system. And there will be a kind of series of these in the weeks ahead, so we will have this as you and the system part 1. And this is, of course, a very broad, huge topic. Since these weekly upgrades are kind of short in the time that they are recorded, we will not go, we will both go into the depth, the deepest end of it, and still not. So frequency-wise, and kind of your higher nature, if you will, that true aspect of you, which is now coming online more and more, and showing up and materializing in this world, which was of course you all along, but it wasn't here in these coordinates, in this reality so much before. So as you come more and more online, and that higher aspect of you, that higher nature, that is the depth we go to frequency wise, and that aspect of you will pick it up. It does that instantaneously. It's a communication, it's a language, it's something that happens between you and me as we just show up together. So that is what's happening. But in regards to the verbal explaining and kind of verbal information part, or in that sense, we will not be able to fill the whole picture, of course, in these. There are other work that does that, and other I offer some things that does that, and other people does that too. But that is so that is available, of course, when you feel and if you feel like you need that. But these are more kind of how when you play an instrument, you have these what is a good image here? This is kind of the fine surgery. This is a fine tuning. It is the really fine aspect of engineering, or whatever this is that we do, in a sense that writing, engineering, building, playing, whatever it is, all these acts, all these different things has an aspect to them, or part of the process, which is very much like a fine tuning, a fine, the fine aspect of something, where it is a very precise, something very precise that needs to be done, with a very precise skill. When we're building a house, and I don't actually know how to build a house, but let's see if I can still make sense here. So when you're building a house and laying the ground, you kind of just there needs to be inside of certain frames, of course, but then you kind of put on the material, and the specific parts of the material doesn't have to be very precisely put. It just needs to be on that surface to kind of, the same when you have a canvas and you kind of painting if you're painting a background, like a background color, you just put it all over. It doesn't need to be so finely, skillfully produced in a way. And that is not to say that is, in any process, that is as much needed as when you come to the really fine parts where something needs to be very precise to be able to then work and to be able to go to the next step. So the weekly upgrades are really that part of the process, that part of you that are able to do something very finely tuned, very skillfully, precisely. That is what we're dealing with here. And that is that range of skills, if you will, that you possess. That's what we're kind of aiming for in the weekly upgrade. That's what that technology is about. And so let's just, with that then, allow that range of abilities in you that range of skills in you. Let them be stimulated, let them be turned on, switched on. And let them meet the light of you. Let them then meet you here, now, in the physicality of you, in the spirituality of you, in the mentality of you, and the emotionality of you. Letting everything that is in the way for this to occur in the way that it needs to for you. All the blocks, all the genetic modification, any programs, any algorithm, any spell, any curse, anything between you and the system. That is keeping any aspect of you outside of this reality. And the time-space, the constellation, if you will, of here and now. Because remember, all of you needs to now come here and now. And that is already what is occurring. That is why and how we're able to see so many varieties of reality, so many varieties of dark, so-called dark and light, and dense and light frequency in the same space in the same time, because everything is turning up here and now. And that is how it should be. But there are, of course, different agendas out there and existences behind that agenda that are working very hard to try to stop that from happening, try to stop all of reality to show up here and now, and all of us to show up here and now, because that aspect has been able to, the only way that they have been able to for so long stay here and dominate the world here and the earth and take grip here is because they have gotten control over space and time in a way that they are able to manipulate and control it, and have done that. And this has then made so that not everything, has kept parts of reality, parts of us, parts of themselves, been able to keep that out of here. Because when you have those aspects and that not here, then you don't have power to, in a healthy way, to steer the future and transform and transmute the past and the future. And you're of course not able to be totally yourself, embodied. That's the whole point. So letting all that which does not allow you to fully embody here, any manipulation that is happening from the algorithms of the system, anywhere in your lineage where that has got a grip over, into, through, and as you. Any narrative that is given you about what it is to be in the system, to not be in the system, that there is a polarity, a so-called good to be in the system or good to not be in the system. or it's bad to be in the system, or it's bad to be outside of the system. All those narratives and kind of fairy tales that is given to trap you into being controlled by the system, even though it might feel that you are not. And it might feel that you're doing the right thing to be, trying to be outside of the system. But in fact, you are just entangling with another part of the system, looking different. Doesn't matter if this doesn't make sense, or you like, what system is she talking about? Doesn't matter. It's all about you remembering who you are, why you're here. Not so much in, the why. I say that loosely. Remembering yourself and member, as in you becoming a member again with yourself. If that makes sense. Disconnecting and disentangling from any narrative, any sense, any ideology behind, in a non-healthy way, in that way of resisting and kind of escaping and trying to doing it from that smaller self of you, to try to disconnect from the world and kind of going somewhere and try to create a community and live seemingly disconnected from society and the system, but in fact just being part of another aspect of the system and another experiment, if you will, of the system. And I don't say that anything of this is right and wrong. I'm just observing what's in you and what's keeping you stuck, or what's going on, basically. And even things that are coming from any indigenous or ancient tribes, people, ancestors, that I'm not saying are wrong, but maybe aren't right for you. So any influence of any other being's way of, you and the system, what that is and what that is not, and how that is right for any being. We all have our own path with that. We all have our own frequencies, and that's the only frequencies that we should embody. But many things in regards to the system of how community has been formed and viewed is that we then have, we might look the same, we might have same beliefs. There is an ideology that is as the foundation, there is a belief system, there is a a perspective that we share, whatever that is, it's still a community that is based not on the actual beings, but and the different specific signature frequency that being, and the tone and the song that being hold, and how they then sing together, being sovereign. It's then having other layers put upon that makes the connection a connection, or a, that is the identity, if you will, of an organization or a community or religion or whatever that is, that infrastructure. And that is what, in essence, what we are upgrading, and that what we are what I'm observing and what we are addressing this week. It's kind of a reset or a recalibration of and an upgrade of how we have, through the system and through agendas, been taught and manipulated into, and for maybe also for good reasons. It doesn't really matter where it come from and how it is, why it is here. It's here, and we just address it, and we show up to the skills that we have to deal with it. That is taking real responsibility, and none of course, that bullshit that we hear, taking responsibility for each other and for ourselves and being kind and blah blah blah, is out there in the narrative now. So it's then also resetting you in the frequency that you are connecting with both other beings and on what frequency you are relating to others, which then now is, we are resetting that outside of any frequency of any system and, the main system. And that's really that is, the first part, or the first thing in being off grid. And you have had this all along. You came with this. We are just now upgrading, recalibrating with that skill set that we have of the fine tuning, of the recalibration of that, so that now can work effortlessly and fluidly, and you don't have that, being shouldering both you the new and you the not you. That is the frequency that you have been given as you, which is not you as a signature. It's you intertwined with that system, that main system, or that infrastructure and that network. It is not you sovereign to you. It's kind of a hybrid you, or a you and something else. And this is now resetting your frequency so that you operate then not from that signature of having two signatures, one which is you and one which is not you. And after that, what then? It's like we need to have that clean slate before we even know or can know what, our part or our truth is in that in how we will navigate this breaking down of the old world and the building of the new world. We need to have that clean slate before we can start to navigate that map inside of us, which is not a fixed map with, destinations that is designed. It's a constantly fluid map and a fluid constellation which only answers to you, and which is that intimate fluid expression of you in every moment. And in fact, it's the same as the earth, how the earth is actually modeled. And I won't say so much more about that, but just letting some frequencies be generated here. And these has to do with the history or the image that we've been given about how, what form the earth has. The map that we have been giving of how different countries and different, how it all fits together and where each are in time space. There is much that you have been given, and also in connection to the stars and the constellations. So this is about the earth and the skies and how the translation of their interconnectedness has been very much modified and very much purposely lied about to you and to us all, of course, through then educated and learned and perpetrated then through the system, of course, internally and externally. As a way to lock you out, as a way to keeping you small and to keeping you believe that you are only that version, that the only version of you that exists is the one that you are being given from that same system. And that is then maintained throughout the system, throughout your whole life. And then looping again into another cycle of being born, and so forth and so forth. It's a never-ending game. Which is not the reality anymore on Earth. But as long as this film and this sequence are being, played, you then of course believe that and live that, and not maybe consciously but not even, yes, unconsciously, but deeper than that, on a frequency level, in a specific layer of reality. You are still hooked into that. And the core of you is then still aligning to and actually accepting of that. How strange it might sound. It's like a consent that is, of course, a forced consent, but in a way it is modified into a consent, if you will. Which have been based on a spell, or was like a curse, or a kind of black magic throughout your ancestry. Letting now all things that are confused in you about anything that I've said, or from before, or there's a specific frequency in how confusion is broadcast, if you will, on this planet now. And so we're dealing with that here now. We're not dealing with it in a sense that we are meeting it or something like that. We only stimulate that part of you, which then automatically go into kind of a rewrite or a trans future of that and that whole mechanism. Which will then allow that to implode upon itself, because that is its program. That is the the key code, if you will, of that existence, which it comes from, and which has ordered the broadcast of that, and which has designed the narratives and written and co-written the whole charade. Letting now that love song of you, which is that specific frequency which I spoke of before, of where the relation between you and everything happens. It's a specific bond, if you will, or a or thread, a beautiful tone. It's that pure love song of you. Establishing that now, here and now, in a much stronger way. Connecting with the earth and the skies. harmonizing and balancing that in that precise and perfect way, and not in perfect and precise as in a frigid or fixed way, but in a fluid way. Great. Okay, so this went a little bit longer than usual. It doesn't really matter. So this week we will not have an extended version. So the extended version, came into this one. So it's 2 in 1. My gift to you. So we'll see you in the next weekly upgrade, which is the number 4. And we will continue this with you and the system part 2 then. All right. Much love and much love.